You cannot exclude that they are representation of celestial ancestors. We have all these statues, and the faces of the statues do not look like the Easter Islanders.
Far out in the Pacific, on a lonely island of stone giants and mystery, something ancient has stirred again. Archaeologists digging beneath the surface of Easter Island have uncovered a secret that challenges everything we thought we knew about its past. Beneath the iconic Moai statues lies more than buried rock. There's a story of ingenuity, ritual, and survival written in the soil itself. What they found will completely change how we see this island forever. No more a mystery island. No more sugarcoating Easter Island or Rapa Nui remains one of the planet's most haunting mysteries.
Easter Island is one of the most remote places on the planet.
You've seen the images. Massive stone heads dotting the grassy plains, gazing endlessly toward the horizon like ancient sentinels. But here's the twist. They're not just heads. For generations, people thought the Moai were mere busts, visible only from the neck up. Yet new excavations have revealed something far more astonishing. Those heads are connected to full-bodied figures, some towering over 30 feet tall. And now, cutting-edge AI has helped uncover what even meticulous digs couldn't. Through ground-penetrating radar, GPR, drone-mounted OLIDAR, and sophisticated AI imaging systems, scientists have reconstructed what truly lies beneath these silent guardians. What they unearthed wasn't just stone and soil. It was heritage, enigma, and perhaps a message from an age long gone. Entire torsos emerged beneath the surface, etched with carvings and markings unseen until now. Some patterns mirror ancient Polynesian artistry, others, they defy any known style. Even more mysterious, scans revealed hidden voids under several statues, chamber-like cavities that could signify burial crypts, ritual halls, or something else entirely. The findings sent shockwaves through archaeology, and the internet erupted in fascination and unease. Enthralling, yes, but chilling too. Why were these chambers sealed so intentionally? What do the engravings convey? And what kind of civilization mastered the engineering and purpose behind these monoliths? For many, this marks just another thrilling revelation in the saga of the Moai. But for others, it feels like a doorway opening into a deeper, darker truth, still waiting to be unearthed. But just when archaeologists thought they'd reached the limits of discovery, technology decided to dig deeper. Digital eyes on ancient secrets. For decades, archaeologists studied the Moai the old-fashioned way. Manual excavation, careful surveying, and tons of guesswork. And to be fair, they did a lot with what they had. But the Moai are tricky. Many are half-buried, incredibly fragile, and sitting in a volcanic island ecosystem,
and a variety of volcanic materials abound which were suited to carving the gigantic statues.
That's not exactly excavation-friendly. You can't just start digging with shovels and hope for the best. That's where tech came in. In early 2025, a team of researchers from a partnership between Stanford University, the University of Chile, and a private AI tech company called Geodepth deployed a suite of tools: ground-penetrating radar, drone-mounted light detection and ranging, and multispectral imaging. This generated massive data sets like terabytes of raw info on soil density, subsurface voids, and structural anomalies under the statues. But here's the magic. AI took all that chaotic data and made sense of it. Using deep learning algorithms, the system was trained to recognize patterns in ancient construction, geological layering, and even detect hollow spaces that might suggest chambers, tunnels, or artifacts. Within days, the AI flagged dozens of Moai statues as having complex subsurface structures beneath them, patterns that matched neither natural formations nor previously understood human excavation. Some looked like tunnels, others like sealed vaults. One had what appeared to be a staircase leading nowhere, or perhaps leading to somewhere that had been buried for 1,000 years. Unlike humans, AI doesn't get tired, biased, or distracted. It compared thousands of historical dig results with the new data and started forming new hypotheses almost instantly. That's when the discoveries got weird. One scan revealed carvings far below the surface that were impossible to see or even guess at from above. These weren't just decorative etchings. Some appeared to be glyphs, writing, symbols, warnings. Some researchers believe these could be early proto-script, visual storytelling predating modern Polynesian languages. Others think the carvings point to rituals or religious practices we've never seen before. The most controversial theory, that the Moai were not just tributes to ancestors, but guardians placed atop sealed sites for a very specific reason. And here's the kicker: we might never have known any of this without AI. These scans didn't just reveal physical features, they opened an entirely new chapter of investigation. Suddenly, Easter Island isn't just a historical footnote, it's a technological frontier. Secrets locked for centuries. Now here's where things go from pretty cool to jaw-dropping. Once the AI finished processing all the scans from beneath the Moai, researchers weren't prepared for just how deep, literally and figuratively, the mystery would go. The statues weren't just standing atop bedrock or dirt. No, beneath them were hidden chambers, carved passageways, and symbolic markings that had likely gone untouched for over 1,000 years. Let's start with the most dramatic discovery. Under at least 7 of the scanned Moai, there appeared to be man-made voids, perfectly geometric in shape. Think chambers about the size of a small room.
She and her team have discovered a multitude of caves. This one is special.
Buried over 10 feet below the base of the statues, one scan revealed what looks like a spiral staircase, although it's still unclear whether it leads anywhere or was a symbolic architectural design. The chambers aren't accessible yet, but the evidence is clear. Something was intentionally built and then sealed beneath the Moai. And what about the carvings? These weren't just decorative flourishes. The AI's multispectral scans uncovered subsurface etchings on the torsos and lower bodies of many statues, invisible to the naked eye due to erosion and centuries of burial. The markings resemble a mix of Polynesian petroglyphs, solar symbols, and geometric spirals. Some archaeologists believe these designs could be astronomical markers, similar to ancient star maps. Others think they might be spiritual or ritualistic warnings. The wildest theory, that these markings align with celestial events, like eclipses or solstices, suggesting the Moai might have served as a massive planetary calendar. That alone would be impressive, but things got darker from there. One chamber scan showed what appeared to be stone slabs, arranged in a pattern, possibly covering something or someone. Some researchers suspect these might be burial sites of high-ranking Rapa Nui leaders, shamans, or spiritual figures. Others are going further, suggesting that the Moai weren't just memorials, but part of an entire underground ritual complex built to honor the dead and keep something buried, literally and metaphorically. And then came the part that had the internet losing its collective mind. One Moai statue, located far from the usual clusters, revealed a pattern on its torso, resembling a wave engulfing a figure. It looked suspiciously like a depiction of a flood or a tsunami. Paired with the symbols around it, some researchers began to speculate that this could be a warning about an ancient disaster. Was Easter Island once hit by a massive flood? Was this knowledge passed down through symbols, etched into stone as a warning for future generations? Of course, no one's claiming there's an ancient doomsday prophecy hidden in the Moai yet, but the symbols, chambers, and artifacts are undeniably deliberate, and that's what makes them so powerful. These weren't random structures or superstitions, they were built with intent. And now, over 1,000 years later, AI just pulled back the curtain. Now that we know what was found beneath the Moai, the chambers, the carvings, the symbols, the big question becomes, what does it all mean? Could these discoveries simply be part of a lost cultural practice? Or is there something far more unsettling behind it all? Experts are alarmed. Here's what they think the Moai are telling us. So now we know there are chambers. We know there are carvings. We know something, or someone, was intentionally buried beneath the Moai. But here's where it gets a little unsettling. No one can agree on why. And some of the theories, they're enough to keep you up at night. Let's start with the obvious, those tsunami-like carvings. Some experts believe they point to an ancient cataclysmic event, possibly a massive flood, volcanic eruption, or even a meteor strike. Easter Island is volcanic after all.
On Easter Island, we have these huge heads and torsos that are carved out of the volcanic rock.
It's not a stretch to imagine that the original inhabitants might have experienced and mythologized a natural disaster of epic proportions. But here's the catch. Several of the Moai contain similar carvings across totally different parts of the island. That consistency has raised a chilling theory. What if the Moai were placed to warn future generations? In this interpretation, the Moai aren't just monuments. They're markers, each one planted like a flag in places where something terrible happened, or might happen again. Think of them like ancient warning signs. Some researchers are even questioning whether the locations of the Moai align with tectonic faults or tsunami impact zones. It's still unconfirmed, but the implications are wild. And then there's the theory that's got Reddit conspiracy threads going absolutely feral. The containment hypothesis. This one's darker. It suggests that the Moai weren't just placed to honor the dead or guide the spirits. They were meant to trap something. The sealed chambers, the heavy slabs, the deep burial of entire statues, all of it, according to this theory, points to a culture that believed something dangerous had to be kept underground, something that should never be disturbed. Yeah, that's a vibe straight out of a horror movie. Of course, mainstream archaeologists are cautious. They warn against sensationalism and respect the spiritual beliefs of the Rapa Nui people. Many insist that the Moai were peaceful markers, built with reverence, not fear. Still, even some respected scholars admit they are rattled by the scale of what AI has uncovered. One researcher, Dr. Helena Cruz, from the University of Chile, went on record saying these chambers, whatever they were used for, were sealed intentionally. The effort that took, the engineering precision. It wasn't casual. It wasn't random. Someone wanted them closed forever. Then there's the ethical debate. Should we open the chambers? Should we excavate what's beneath? Or are we risking desecrating something sacred? Or worse, unleashing something we don't understand? The indigenous Rapa Nui community, who have ancestral ties to the builders of the Moai, are calling for caution. Many believe the land is sacred, and that, AI or not, some things are meant to remain buried. But as the world watches, one thing is clear. What was once a silent mystery is now screaming for answers, and not everyone is ready to hear them. Still, that doesn't leave us a choice because of easy access of information online. The Easter Island Internet Storm. If there's one thing the internet loves more than a good mystery, it's a mystery involving ancient statues, secret chambers, and possible prophecies. As soon as word got out about the AI scans on Easter Island, it was like lighting a fuse. Within hours, hashtags like hashtag Moai Secrets, hashtag Easter Eye, Island Eye, and hashtag Ancient Warning were trending worldwide. TikTok exploded with videos showing eerie drone footage of the statues, superimposed with ominous music and captions like, "What did they bury beneath these things?" One video claiming the Moai were guarding the gates to the underworld racked up over 30 million views in 2 days. It wasn't just TikTok either. YouTube channels that specialize in history, mystery, and conspiracy theories pumped out content at breakneck speed. Titles like, "Is there an ancient alien prison beneath Easter Island?" and "Moai statues decoded, humanity was warned," pulled in millions of views. Some were just harmless fun. Others? Let's just say they pushed the limits of imagination and logic. Reddit went full detective mode. Entire threads tried to cross-reference Moai locations with global seismic patterns. Others analyzed the carved wave symbol found on one statue. comparing it to flood myths from other ancient cultures like Atlantis, Sumeria, and even the biblical flood story. Some users suggested that Rapa Nui may have been a cultural relay point for lost civilizations, preserving warnings from far older societies.
This place in its rich culture, and a part of that is continuing the traditions of their ancestors through traditional Rapa Nui.
Meanwhile, meme culture jumped in with both feet. Images of the Moai were plastered with captions like, "When you realize the statues were never just heads." Moai, the original apocalypse preppers, and "You versus the ancient evil she told you not to worry about." Even brands tried to cash in. A major streaming platform teased a docuseries called Unearthed, The Secrets Beneath the Moai, while a sci-fi author fast-tracked a thriller novel set on Easter Island involving ancient beings and a buried prophecy. Within weeks, the Moai weren't just historical artifacts. They were full-blown pop culture icons. Of course, not all the attention was positive. Some scholars voiced concerns that the flood of viral content was spreading misinformation, sensationalizing the findings, and disrespecting the cultural and spiritual significance of the statues. Indigenous Rapa Nui leaders also urged the global community to treat their heritage with reverence, not just as a canvas for conspiracies. Still, the buzz shows no sign of slowing. The mystery has all the ingredients of a modern myth: ancient ruins, advanced tech, secret symbols, and a potential warning to humanity. It hits something primal, the idea that maybe, just maybe, the past knew something we don't. And let's be honest, in an age of AI, climate change, and global uncertainty, people are hungry for meaning. Whether the Moai hold ancient wisdom, spiritual truths, or just some seriously impressive engineering, one thing's for sure: they've captured the world's imagination like never before. With the world buzzing, theories flying, and ancient secrets re-emerging from the ground, it's easy to get swept up in the mystery. But beyond the hype and headlines, one thing is certain: this changes everything. So what does all of this mean? Not just for Easter Island, but for the future of archaeology itself. What this means for the future of archaeology. The Moai discoveries have done more than just blow people's minds online. They've sparked a serious conversation in the scientific world about the future of archaeology itself. Because let's face it, when artificial intelligence can scan, analyze, and interpret millennia-old mysteries in a matter of hours, we're not just uncovering the past, we're redefining how we study it. Until recently, archaeology was a slow, painstaking process.
But recent archaeological excavations have revealed that the figures were naturally buried.
Digging, cataloging, dating. It could take years just to uncover a single structure, let alone interpret its significance. But with AI, we now have tools that can process thousands of data points in minutes, spot patterns invisible to the human eye, and make predictions based on probabilities no single expert could calculate alone. That's not just efficient, it's revolutionary. And Easter Island is quickly becoming the poster child for this new era. The implications go far beyond the Moai. If AI can do this on a remote volcanic island in the Pacific, imagine what it could reveal under the sands of Egypt, deep in the Amazon rainforest, or beneath the ruins of ancient Mesopotamia. Already, universities and tech companies are collaborating on similar scanning projects at sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey and Angkor Wat in Cambodia. We're on the brink of what some are calling a second renaissance, a wave of rediscovery powered by algorithms rather than shovels. But with that power comes serious questions. For one, how do we balance scientific curiosity with cultural respect? Indigenous communities around the world are speaking up, reminding researchers that sacred sites aren't just data points, they're part of living traditions. The Rapa Nui people, in particular, have called for careful consideration before opening any of the newly discovered chambers. They want to ensure that their ancestors' legacies aren't treated like museum curiosities or clickbait fodder. There's also the risk of over-reliance on technology. AI can show us what's buried and even suggest theories, but it can't interpret meaning the way a human can. Culture, belief, and symbolism aren't just patterns in the data. their experiences, shaped by history and humanity. If we're not careful, we could lose the nuance that makes archaeology so fascinating in the first place. Still, it's hard not to feel a sense of awe at what's happening. For the first time, we're truly peeling back the layers of time, not by digging blindly, but by letting the past reveal itself, pixel by pixel. The Moai have stood for centuries as silent guardians of a forgotten world. Now, thanks to AI, they're speaking again, and the world is finally listening. Even after all this, the truth is, we've only scratched the surface, literally and metaphorically. The AI scans of Easter Island's Moai statues didn't just uncover buried stone and strange symbols. They uncovered the possibility that entire chapters of human history have been lying just out of reach, waiting for the right tools and the right questions to bring them to light. What's most humbling isn't how advanced the technology is, but how deeply human the mystery remains. These weren't just statues built for decoration or ego. They were part of something bigger, something sacred, maybe even something urgent. Whether they were warning signs, spiritual sentinels, or ancient timekeepers, one thing is clear: the people who built them knew things we've forgotten. And now, piece by piece, AI is helping us remember. But with that knowledge comes responsibility: to investigate without destroying, to question without disrespecting, to explore not just with data but with empathy. Because for all the breakthroughs we might achieve, the real discovery may not be what's buried beneath the statues, but what those mysteries teach us about ourselves, our past, and the kind of future we're building. So now we're left with a question, one that echoes across time, through the stone faces of the Moai, and into the digital eyes of our AI tools. What else have we misunderstood, and what else is waiting to be uncovered? Beneath the silent giants of Easter Island, the past is still whispering, and we're only beginning to understand what it's saying. Stay curious, keep digging into the unknown, and subscribe for more stories that uncover the world's deepest secrets.